Today, I will tell you with lots of prayers and lots of thinking. Today, I'll tell you as West Virginians, I can't help you anymore being a Democrat governor. So tomorrow, I will be changing my registration to Republican.
With us now, the Republican governor of West Virginia in his first TV interview since that shocker of an announcement, Jim Justice, joining us on the phone right now. Governor, good to have you. Thank you.
Oh, no, Neil. Thank you, sir. I'm a big fan of yours, watch you all the time, and appreciate you having me on.
I appreciate that. Why did you do this?
Well, Neil, the bottom line is just this. My family's been Republican all of our lives and everything, but I ran as a Democrat and everything because I really do care about our people, and not that the Republicans don't. I mean, they surely do, but at the same time, I just felt more positioned. At one time, I was a little concerned about how serious our Republicans were about really helping business and doing the right things there, but it really just came down to just this. At crunch time, I mean, when we had a budget that was going to be passed, that was going to help it in a lot of different ways and everything, for whatever the reason may be, just from a pure political play, the Republicans walked away, the Democrats walked away from me only because they were upset that there was a component of the budget that was tax reform that was coming from the Republicans. And it was a terrible move. It hurt a lot of people. It really, really hurt a lot of great West Virginians in a lot of different ways. And I just said, I just can't do this anymore. I mean, this is absolutely silly. I feel more in tune with the Republicans, and I absolutely think that I can work with them here. And I have a great relationship with our president. And that is the most significant thing. I think he's doing a fabulous job.
When did you tell him? When did you give him a heads up on this?
Well, we probably about 2.5 weeks ago we started discussing it and everything. And he was excited. It was nice that we were able to keep it as quiet as we kept it, because if it had come out, it would be just a media barrage. And so the long and short of it is we did keep it, and we were able to keep something from leaking from the White House or leaking from here for a good while. So that was pretty good.
But did you have any doubts, Governor, maybe in light of, for example, late yesterday before you met with the president in your fine state, this revelation that a grand jury has been impaneled in this so-called Russia collusion story, that you might be, hitching yourself up to the wrong horse?
No, Neil, I really don't. I mean, I really think that we as Americans are getting flat sick and tired of hearing about the Russians. I mean, just think about it. We got a stock market at 22,000. We got real hope going on within our state. I truly believe with all in me that the president, as well as myself, we ran for office to get something done first and foremost, and we don't want anything for ourselves. We've given up a lot of our lives, and we really, at the end of the day, we're doing what our founding fathers really did. We stepped up and served for nothing for ourselves, and so I think the public's getting sick and tired of hearing about all this Russian stuff, and what we want to do is get on with doing great things for the country.
But do you ever worry, Governor, that some of it is sticking, whatever your views on the subject, on the constant media barrage? This latest news we cover is a good example of that. That it's hurting the president's popularity. It's dinging him, and not so much among his core base, and there's no more core base than in your state, but that it could, and it could stymie his presidency.
Well, it can. I mean, there's no question about that, Neil. And that's why, some way, somehow, he's got to get through that, and we've got to get on.
What have you told him to do? How have you advised him? You're both very successful businessmen. I mean, you're a billionaire. I mean, billionaire to billionaire. What do you talk about? What do you say?
Well, I think, really and truly, and everybody would say this, but I'm surely not going to try to tell the President of the United States what he should do. I mean, but because he...
Well, maybe someone should, though, right? I mean, to say everyone could use advice. I'm sure you take advice from people. And if the rap against his president, I don't know if it's fair or not, sir, is that he doesn't. And maybe for good reason, because he got there ignoring all sorts of so-called expert advice. But now that he's there, do you think these staff shake-ups, a new chief of staff will point him in a right direction?
Well, I do. I mean, when you think about, having a general as your chief of staff, that's significant, and it's significant from an organizational standpoint in a lot of different ways. And I think that will help things, no question. But I've been to the White House multiple times in the last 2 or 3 weeks, and I can tell you they abound with qualified, good people. And the bottom line, and Neil, I've got to say this. People don't know our president. Our president genuinely cares, and that is so significant. And this man wants nothing for himself. He wants goodness for this country, and we've got to get past. And I don't know the intricacies in any way, shape, form, or fashion with all the Russian stuff, but we just got to get past it and get on with doing all the great things that I know he's going to be able to do.
Now, he has a pretty, acrimonious relationship with the media. I don't know how it goes in your state, sir, so excuse my ignorance. But any advice on that part?
Well, I mean, last night, his speech that he delivered, I really believe that he stayed on task and everything. It was a fabulous speech. But again, how in the world can Jim Justice tell the President of the United States what he ought to be doing and everything? It's just preposterous to think that. At the end of the day, he's got great advisors around him. Neil, anytime there's change, and change is tough. And at the end of the day, it's just this. I mean, he's not perfect, nor is Jim Justice, and change is tough. But I would ask everybody one question: in the recent past, how's it been working for you? I mean, for crying out loud, let's give the man his due and give him an opportunity to lead this country in a positive way.
Do you think that much hinges on getting tax cuts through, Governor, that if he doesn't succeed at that, and it's looking dicey given the legislative deadline and everything else, it's tough not only for the president but for Republicans in general?
I think he's got to succeed at that.
Do you think
and
they have to be this year, Governor?
I believe it has to be this year. I really do.
Do you think they should be retroactive?
Oh, I don't know about that, but I think that's something that would have to be left in the economist's hands. But I think he's got to get it done this year.
Are you in the camp, sir? And I know you have to go, but it says the rich don't need a tax cut. There have been many on Capitol Hill who suggested maybe we skip the very richest, don't give them a tax cut.
I mean, Neil, there's a real argument, for the fact that the wealthy are the job creators in a lot of ways, and there's an argument for that. But in my belief, really and truly, I would probably be one that would say, at some point in time, I mean, the wealthy could step forward here, be great Americans, and defer themselves, and to where the middle class or the lower income could get a little bit bigger bite of the apple. And I think we all, as wealthy, would step forward and say, we don't need it right now. Let's move this country forward.
So you're in the kind of the Steve Bannon camp, or the chief strategist of the White House, who said that those who earn $5 million and over should see a tax hike to 44%. Now, we're told since, Governor, that that's been kind of poo-pooed by others of the White House, that recommendation was ignored, but it's out there.
Well, now, I didn't say that I was in the camp that said that the wealthy people ought to get their taxes jacked up, because those people are reinvesting, and they're really job creators, and that's very true. What I said is maybe what we should do is pause, the wealthiest, and let them step forward and say, let's bring our middle class and our lower income classes and help them the most. Now, but I really believe at the end of the day, a significant reduction in the corporate income tax and an income tax break across the board. I would weight it heavier towards the middle and lower income brackets, but I think all of that has to be passed. And even maybe a slight reduction at the very highest levels would be fine with me, or no reduction at the highest level.
I just want to be clear, Governor. Are you now officially a Republican?
Well, I'm not. No, I'm not officially. I've got to figure out exactly the details of what I've got to do, but I've got to get across the hall and make that done at some point in time today. But
I'm sure there's a document to sign. All right.
Before sundown today, I'll be a Republican.
All right. Governor Jim Justice, thank you very, very much. Good seeing you.
Neil, thank you for all you do. Appreciate you, sir.